Okay, so let's talk about conditioning and what it is. Hello, my name is Ebony. If you are new here, I'm a human design reader expert and coach. I also talk about gene keys, and today we are going to be talking about conditioning. If you are interested, I'm going to be hosting a free 3-day course called Aura Alignment, and this is going to take you through my process for aligning with your aura and aligning with your energy type, as well as overcoming conditioning, which is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you are interested in participating in the course, we're going to be starting on February 7th. So that link will be in my description box. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. So one of my favorite human design teachers, I love working with her. I've been working with her for years. Eden Carpenter. She says that conditioning is when your nature falls victim to your nurture. And I love this definition because it reminds me and my clients, whenever I tell them, and I tell them all the time, it reminds me that conditioning is not a bad thing, right? Because in this personal development space, in the spiritual space, we tend to get very caught up in negative beliefs and limiting beliefs and blocks and all these things. It's nice to remember that conditioning, as it pertains to human design, is not negative. It's not a bad thing, right? What conditioning is a sign, right? It's a sign, but it's also the way that we've been raised, right? It's the people that we were raised around. It's the institutions that we went to, right? It's our community. Those aren't negative things. They've been teaching us the way that they have been able to survive so that we can also survive. So the first thing I want to say is that conditioning is not a bad thing, right? It doesn't make you a bad person if you experience conditioning. We have all experienced conditioning in some way. What we want to do is come back to our natural state, come back to our alignment, whatever that happens to be. So your nature falling victim to your nurture, what does that mean? If we're talking about our human design, you have a specific way that you are meant to operate in life, right? Your energetic type, your strategy, your authority, right? All of these things, your profile, all of these things tell you what is the best way for you specifically to operate in this world, right? What is the path of least resistance when it comes to living and creating the life that you desire? Conditioning are just the things that have piled on top of that, right? For example, if you are a projector or a manifestor or a reflector, you have an undefined sacral center. Common conditioning for the undefined sacral center is trying to keep up with everyone around you, trying to do more, trying to be faster, right? Trying to do all of the things, right? That is conditioning for the undefined sacral center because you are not actually you're not designed to be doing all of the things. You don't have the energy for it. But because you live in a world that's 70% generators, the conditioning that you get from the people around you is that you have to do all of the things. You have to keep up. You have to be faster. Now, that constantly operating in that way will push you into bitterness or anger or disappointment because you don't have the energy to operate in that way for a sustained period of time. That doesn't mean conditioning is a bad thing. It just means that you're running on a path that doesn't belong to you. So what we want to do when we're deconditioning ourselves is remind ourselves of what we are actually designed to be doing, right? So going back to the example of the undefined sacral center, I have an undefined sacral center and I'm not designed to be doing all of the things. What is the opposite of that? The opposite of that is efficiency. What are the most important things that will give me the biggest results? It's very similar to like the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule for undefined sacrals is golden, because that is your superpower. It is the ability to discern what is going to give me the biggest results with the least amount of energy, because my energy is finite. There's nothing wrong with that. That is your superpower, because generators and manifesting generators with our defined sacral center, all we want to do is take the action, because our defined sacral center gives us the ability and the energy to do that. So, coming back to conditioning and how to decondition, it's remembering, what is my nature? How am I actually designed to operate? And how can I take action from that place and not the conditioned place? Not that the conditioned place is necessarily bad, because again, conditioning for the undefined sacral center is nature for the defined sacral center. So it's not a bad thing. It's just not the way you are designed to work. So if you find yourself, and you will, we all do, you find yourself operating from a conditioned place, remind yourself that it is not a bad thing. It is a natural thing for us to have conditioning. So what we want to do now is make the next step, right? The awareness that, hey, I'm operating from a conditioned place and it's not going to serve me in the long run. How can I come back to my nature? How can I, as an undefined sacral center person, just for example, how can I take action from my nature and not my nurture? Okay? So I hope that that makes sense. Again, if you're interested in aura alignment, my free 3-day course, we're going to be starting on the 7th, and there's going to be workbooks involved. If you've gone through a course with me before, you already know how this goes. So make sure that you register so you can get all of the materials. The link for that will be in my description box, and I'll see you in the next video.